Veskrama Huladunya. In about a week, I'm going to be launching what I hope will be the first of many Anki decks for Gaelic or Scottish Gaelic language learning. You can download the Anki app for your home computer or smartphone from the Anki app website, which I will link in the description below. All of the Anki decks and other resources that I'll be creating and making available for Gaelic are based on the principles of language learning that are laid out in the book Fluent Forever by Gabriel Weiner. If you haven't read the book, that's okay. You'll still be able to use the decks, but if you really want to unleash the full learning potential that's layered into each of the decks that I'm making, I highly recommend that you pick up a copy of Fluent Forever. It's also available on Audible as an audiobook, where it's actually narrated by the author, and his passion for language learning is truly contagious. It's hilarious, and I highly recommend the audiobook. I'll put links down below for the book and the audiobook. There's also a Fluent Forever website and app, and it's all fantastic stuff, but Fluent Forever is a business. And as such, it's focused on languages that are big enough to make money. Small, endangered languages like Gaelic aren't on their radar. And so for my own learning journey, I've had to build my own resources. So over the past 2 years, I can't even count the number of people who've commented on how quickly I've learned or how well I speak Gaelic. Now, I'm not saying that to be boastful, but to demonstrate how effective these tools have been for me. At the time of this recording, I'm in a 4th year class at Colaisde na Gaelic and doing well at this level. I wouldn't say that I'm totally fluent, but I speak well enough that I can express anything that I want to express in Gaelic well enough that a native or fluent speaker can understand me. And I'm often asked how I learned so quickly. My response is always that I've used Anki every day. Anki uses spaced repetition of relevant and personally connected information, which allows your mind to learn easily and helps it stick so that you remember it when you want it and when you need it. Beyond that, Anki uses multiple senses simultaneously and moves information out of abstraction and into the specific and the relevant. Now, I've shared my decks with a few fellow students, and I've been told by friends who are neurodivergent and who have multiple learning challenges that the multi-sensory format helps them learn in ways that nothing else has ever been able to do. Over the past 2 years, I've learned a ton, not only about Gaelic, but also about language learning generally, and I've become very proficient with using the Anki app to apply the Fluent Forever method to Gaelic. In that time for me, learning Gaelic has gone from being a desire to personally reconnect with the language and culture of my own ancestors to becoming a language and culture reclamation mission. It's something that I feel responsible to share, to preserve, and to promote. And that's why I've started creating these resources and making them more widely available. What I've done in creating these decks is provided you with a leg up. I've done the techie part of making these decks so that you can get started right away making each card your own. And every step of that process contributes to helping your mind learn Gaelic in ways that are simple, natural, and highly effective. Don't be surprised when you discover that all of the cards in these decks are not complete in the sense that they will require you to customize and personalize them. As each new word comes up, you'll need to match the Gaelic word on the card to the English word on the master list that you'll get with the deck. Then, you need to think about that word and what it means, what its relevance is to you personally. You'll find a story or an experience from your life or from your memory that relates to that word, and then, using Google Images, you locate a picture or pictures that convey the word in the context of your experience, and you copy and paste the specific image that's relevant to you right into your card. There's also a space where you can add a 1 or 2 word cue to help you remember the Gaelic word. Keep it simple and short and don't give it away. You want as little English on your cards as possible. The rule of thumb is that translation is the enemy of fluency. And as your language skills progress, you'll be able to update these cards and make even your cues in Gaelic. The decks that I make are loaded with information, far more than you need to start out. But as your learning progresses, the additional information, things like genitive forms of nouns and comparatives of adjectives, they'll ensure that each card stays relevant as you learn more. And because I've spent most of my life studying the mind and consciousness and how it all works together, I've layered in aspects of neurolinguistics, and I've incorporated multi-sensory cues that will support the use of mnemonics, which enhance the speed and ease of your language learning. Now, mnemonics are covered well and in depth in the Fluent Forever book, but I can give a very simple and concrete example here. So, you may or may not already know that in Gaelic, as in many languages, there are both masculine and feminine nouns. How nouns change in different contexts is often based on whether they're feminine or masculine. So intuitively and quickly knowing which is which really helps. And using mnemonics makes knowing easy. I've put the masculine nouns on red cards and feminine nouns on blue cards. You can use the colors to associate red with masculine and fire or heat, and blue with feminine and water or ice and cold, so that as you're learning, you can, for example, imagine or picture a coo, which is a dog. It's a masculine noun. You can imagine the dog made of fire, or a dog panting because it's hot. And a cruv, which is a tree, it's a feminine noun. You can imagine a tree encased in ice or a tree underwater. The colors cue your chosen mnemonic, which helps it stick in your mind and memory. Furthermore, for the audio tracks, I've had the support of Fiona Smith and Richard Hill, who are both outstanding Gaelic language teachers with Colaisde na Gaelic. So all of the feminine nouns are in Fiona's feminine voice, and all of the masculine nouns are in Richard's masculine voice. And all of these components are at work at a subconscious level, and they help your mind to organize, remember, and recall much more effectively. Now, I've already released a free Gaelic minimal pairs ear training deck so that you'll be better able to hear and discern the unique sounds of Gaelic, which I've linked below, and I'm just putting the finishing touches on a Foundations of Gaelic beginners deck, which I'll be releasing in about a week. The Foundations of Gaelic deck will include your first 700 or so words of the most frequently used Gaelic vocabulary. And each word generates 2 or more cards so that throughout the deck, you'll be variably challenged to recall the meaning of each Gaelic word as written, which is a comprehension card, to recall and say the Gaelic word in response to the image and cue, which is called a production card, as well as be able to spell the Gaelic word in response to hearing it and seeing the image. It's a spelling card. So all in all, this deck will offer around 2,000 customizable vocabulary cards. I'm already really looking forward to sharing more decks in the future. Things like idioms and topic-specific vocabulary and more complex grammatical formations. And I'm really excited to hear from folks who are using these decks about what you'd like to see offered through this medium. But for now, that's all I'm going to say. If you're interested in learning more, I'll be releasing a couple short videos over the next week that'll demonstrate how to customize your deck. If you'd like to stay informed about these decks and any other Gaelic learning resources that I come up with, as well as my transformational work at Monarch Trancework, please visit my website, which is linked below, and subscribe to my mailing list. Ceart, Sinead, Tá Bolaíomh a Thula Duine, Bíonach Live. Thank you, everybody. I hope to see you soon.